All right, let's talk about something we do every single second of every day. Taking a breath. We're going to go on a little journey, tracing the path of a single breath from the air all around us, deep into our bodies, and check out the incredible biological machinery that makes it all happen. Just think about that for a second. Over 20,000 times a day, every single day. It's so automatic, right? We just do it. We don't even have to think about it. But have you ever really stopped to wonder where that air is going? Well, we're going to answer that question right now. Let's follow the path from the moment you inhale to when you exhale.
Okay, before we dive into the journey, I want you to get a sense of the scale we're dealing with here. 70 square meters. What does that even mean? Well, if you could take out the delicate surfaces inside your lungs and lay them flat, they would cover about 70 square meters. We're talking the size of like 5 parking spaces. All of that is packed neatly inside your chest. It's absolutely mind-boggling, isn't it?
All right, Section 1, your body's air filter. So our journey begins, and the first stop, well, it's not just some simple pipe. It's more like a super sophisticated air conditioning and purification plant, and it's located right in the middle of your face.
Yeah, your nose is way more than just an entryway for air. Your nasal passages are basically getting that air ready for the long trip ahead. It's got 3 crucial jobs to do. First, it warms the air up to body temperature. Second, it humidifies it so it doesn't dry out your super delicate lungs. And third, it traps all the gunk, dust, pollen, you name it, in a layer of sticky mucus. It's like a complete air prep station.
So let's zoom in, way down to the microscopic level. The actual lining of your airway is this amazing thing called the respiratory epithelium. It's packed with special cells that pump out that protective mucus. But here's the cool part. It's not just a sticky trap. The lining also has millions of tiny hair-like things called cilia, and they are constantly beating, like a coordinated wave, sweeping all that mucus and all the junk it's trapped up and out towards your throat. It's basically a self-cleaning conveyor belt.
Section 2. Down the windpipe. Okay, so now our air is perfectly warmed, it's humidified, and it's cleaned up. It is officially ready for the next stage of its journey, heading down into the chest.
And that air follows a really clear path downwards. First up, it passes through the pharynx, which you probably just call your throat. That's a shared space for both air and food. Then it moves into the larynx, your voice box. From there, it's straight down the trachea, or windpipe, which finally splits into this incredibly complex bronchial tree, branching out deep into your lungs.
We've all said this, right? Something went down the wrong pipe. Well, that phrase highlights an absolutely critical safety feature. We've all had that moment. You take a sip of water and suddenly you're coughing your head off. That's your body's defense system kicking into high gear. See, when you swallow, this little flap called the epiglottis slams shut over your windpipe. But if anything sneaks past it, bam, it triggers an immediate, powerful cough reflex to get that intruder out.
Now, as we travel deeper into that bronchial tree, something really interesting happens. The structure changes, and so does the function. The bigger tubes, the bronchi, are held open by these tough, C-shaped rings of cartilage. That's to make sure your main airways never ever collapse. But as they branch into tinier and tinier tubes, called bronchioles, that cartilage just disappears. And it's replaced by smooth muscle. Why? Because this gives your body precise control over airflow, letting it widen the airways when you're exercising or tighten them up.
Section 3. The Great Gas Exchange. Okay, we finally arrived at our destination. We followed the air through all the pipes, all the filters, and now we are at the microscopic frontier where the real magic, the whole point of breathing, actually happens.
And here we are. This is it, the end of the line for our single breath. We're at the alveoli. Now, these aren't just empty balloons. They're these tiny, super delicate air sacs, all clustered together like little bunches of grapes, and you have hundreds of millions of them. This is what creates that massive surface area. Remember the 5 parking spaces? Well, this is the stage for the main event. So all that magic happens across a structure called the respiratory membrane. And when I say it's thin, I mean it's almost unimaginably thin. You've got the wall of the air sac, the wall of the tiny blood vessel, and a little bit of stuff in between, all fused together. It's so thin. And that super thin barrier is absolutely crucial for letting gases zip back and forth really quickly.
So how do the gases know which way to go? It's actually pretty simple. It's all about pressure. Think of it like a hill.
The fresh air you just breathed in is packed with oxygen, so it's at high pressure. The blood that's just arrived at your lungs is tired. It's low in oxygen. So oxygen just rolls downhill, from high pressure in your lungs to low pressure in your blood. And the exact opposite is true for carbon dioxide. It's high in the blood, low in the lungs, so it rolls right out. No energy required. It's just pure physics.
And the physics lesson isn't over yet. Let's talk about the simple mechanics of just getting air in. When you decide to inhale, your diaphragm muscle pulls down and your rib cage moves up and out. What does that do? It makes your chest bigger. You've increased the volume. And when you increase the volume, the pressure inside drops. So now, the pressure inside your lungs is lower than the pressure outside your body, and air just rushes in to fill the space. It's like a gentle vacuum. Now breathing out, at least when you're just relaxing, is even easier. Seriously, you don't even have to try. It's a totally passive process. Your muscles just relax, your chest cavity gets smaller, and your lungs, which are naturally stretchy, just kind of recoil. This makes the volume inside smaller, which cranks up the pressure and whoosh, the air flows right back out. It's completely effortless.
Okay, here's something that prevents a major problem. The inside of those little air sacs, the alveoli, are moist. And you know how water molecules like to stick together, right? Well, that stickiness, that surface tension, should cause them to collapse completely every time you breathe out. But they don't. Why? Because special cells produce this stuff called pulmonary surfactant. It's basically an oily substance that acts like a non-stick coating, breaking up that water tension and keeping your air sacs from sticking shut. It's absolutely vital.
Section 4. Riding the bloodstream. All right, the oxygen has made the leap. It's officially crossed over into the blood. But its journey is far from over. Now it needs a ride, a delivery service to get to every single cell in your body. So let's see how it travels.
So meet the transport vehicle, a protein called hemoglobin. This incredible molecule is packed by the millions into your red blood cells. The best way to think of it is like a microscopic taxi service. Each little hemoglobin taxi has 4 empty seats. It picks up 4 oxygen passengers in the lungs and then drops them off in the tissues all over your body where they're needed.
And this just shows you how absolutely essential that taxi service is. A whopping 98.5% of all the oxygen in your blood is riding on hemoglobin. Only a tiny fraction, 1.5%, is just dissolved in the blood plasma. The reason is that oxygen just doesn't dissolve well in water. So without hemoglobin, there's no way our circulatory system could ever deliver enough oxygen to keep us alive. It's a total game changer. Now, getting rid of the waste product, carbon dioxide, is a bit more complicated. It has a few different escape routes. A little bit dissolves in the plasma, and some of it actually hitches a ride back on hemoglobin. But the vast majority, we're talking about 70%, gets converted into something else, bicarbonate ions. These guys travel super easily in the blood. Then, when they get back to the lungs, a chemical reaction reverses, turning them back into CO2 gas so you can just breathe them out. Pretty clever.
Section 5. The brain's autopilot. So, we've seen all the parts, right? The mechanics, the physics, the chemistry. It's like a perfectly conducted symphony. But who's the conductor? What's making sure you keep taking that next breath, even when you're totally asleep and not thinking about it at all?
Well, the answer is deep inside your brainstem. The main control center is a part of your brain called the medulla oblongata. It sets the basic, steady rhythm for your normal, quiet breathing. It also has a special group that kicks in when you need to breathe hard, like during a workout. And then you've got the pons sitting right above it, which fine-tunes everything, making the transitions from inhale to exhale nice and smooth. It's a true biological autopilot. Okay, here it is. This might be the single most surprising fact in this entire journey. You'd think the reason you feel the urge to breathe is because you're running out of oxygen, right? Nope. It's not a lack of oxygen, it's a buildup of carbon dioxide. Your brain has these tiny sensors that are super sensitive to CO2 levels in your blood. As soon as those levels start to creep up, your brain sends a powerful, unignorable signal that says, breathe, now. So there you have it. You start with something you don't even think about, a simple breath, and it unfolds into this incredible cascade of physics, chemistry, and neurobiology. It's a perfect, self-regulating system that just works, keeping you alive from one moment to the next. It really makes you stop and wonder, doesn't it? What other amazing, ridiculously complex things is your body doing for you, right now, perfectly, without you even having to ask?